your passport, your birth certificate, any information that they can get and trace. If you leave it in places where it's always been safe, and we're just as guilty. Remember, the 22-year cop that knows it all? Yeah. I have a box that sits right there. It has all the kids' birth certificates in it. Yeah. So I could sit here and tell you, and I knew I was coming to talk about this tonight, so we made sure we got it put in the correct place. Well, after about the fourth beer sitting in front of the television, the box is still on top of the fridge. So we're saying that it's things like that is what we mean by the important documentation and things of real value that can turn tragic. And if you know, or you yourself have been a victim of identity theft, it is a mess. It really, really is. And it takes, in some cases, as we've gotten better in the past 20 years, it still takes 5 to 10 years to get everything wiped off. It really does. So, keeping that in mind, it's not always the big physical things that can be a problem. Think about your information, your personal information, what can happen there. Auto thefts and car break-ins, these are some of the tips that we talk about that can help. Everything that we see and talk about tonight, they're guidelines and they are tips, and for the most part, they do help. If you have a vehicle and there isn't a real expensive stereo CD system in it, different things like that, you park on the street, you've been hit 2 or 3 times, I was told, then there are some things that some advice we're gonna try to share with you to see if we can remedy that, okay? This sounds like common sense. I'll give you a test that we do as the police. Walk down your street in the middle of the day. Don't do it at night, because see, we're all safe at night. We're going to do all these things in the middle of the night, right? We do that. We know that it's dark. But you walk down your own street in the middle of the day and just look, because you're actively going out to see how people are or are not paying attention. You'll see the computer is on the front seat now, because you just ran in to grab your sandwich. It's no big deal. But you won't do that under the cover of darkness. And before you know it, you're making that phone call and everything's gone. So these ideas work all the time, not just sometimes. Placing the valuables in the trunk prior to reaching your destination. One of the biggest times that this is really good is Christmas and all the holiday shopping. So you go into the mall, you have all your packages. That's another one. Arms are full and you're walking out, you can't see around half the things. Well, people get victimized every day, every minute, all the time at shopping malls. So let's take that and make sure we're putting those things in there before we get to the next destination. Not once we get there and then we put it in the trunk. And as I told you, that guy's around the corner, he's watching you. And then the next thing you know, he's over there getting into your trunk. Do you believe this still happens? I bet every 2 or 3 months we send out an alert where someone left their vehicle running. In the wintertime, more so, obviously. But the good, well, I don't know if that's a good word, I can't say the good thing. The thing about that is in most cases, it's either someone new to urbanized living or it's a visitor. It's someone who may not know better. Someone who does that at their home in Baldwin, Chesterfield, places like that, that may think that that's okay. And I'm not talking about those folks. I'm just saying those are sometimes some of the instances that it happens. Using alarms and wheel locking devices. Dodge is the worst vehicle. Finally, in 2007, they started really going after their anti-theft devices. But Dodge notoriously has been the worst. So minivans, some of the old Jeep Cherokees and all of that, I mean, they can steal them in 30 seconds and they're gone. So as the manly man that I am and driving a Dodge minivan around, sometimes I'll have that club on there. And of course the kids give me all kinds of trouble. Dad, what do you have that thing on there for? It's things like that if you live in an area or you drive the type of vehicle. So advice, all you have to do is Google it. Check out your own car, see how often they're stolen. See what any of the recalls are on your vehicle, if there are anti-theft recalls. So check all of that out. Again, we like to say these are common sense, but as we know, it doesn't take you but a couple of months of being in the Central West End or the mid-corridor of St. Louis. Even in the middle of the day, it doesn't matter how well lit it is. If you're leaving merchandise out there, they're going to get after it. Okay? Spare keys in and around the car, when that all first came out, here's the hide key. They're advertising it on television, and people are doing that. And of course, they're coming out of the places, and they're reaching up under there, and they're grabbing it, and 2 weeks later, their car's stolen. So, people still do this. Habits are hard to break. Some folks will still put that tire umpires. When I did umpiring, guys would take their keys and put them in the wheel wells or up underneath that because they didn't want to take it out on the field to umpire. So it's people's habits sometimes also. Keep interior free of junk. Do you know that your mail that you put above on the visor, your wrappers that may be covering something else up, the bad guy doesn't know that. He's looking for anything, so anything that he sees that really is junk, literally, it may not be anything, they don't know that until they get in there and take a good look at it. So remember that, to keep a lot of that stuff out of there too. And of course, the obvious, reporting suspicious activity to the police. I can't say enough of how many times a week Sarah primarily answers the call. Well, I'm calling to see if this alert, because I saw a guy that matched that description and he was hanging on a corner, but I wasn't real sure. Is this the same guy? Well, when did you see him? Last night at 2 a.m.? Did you call the police? Oh no, I just thought it was another guy. I mean, then it's too late. Not too late, but you know, it could have been prevented in some cases. So please make sure something that minor and what I think is common sense, everybody doesn't. Everybody doesn't think it's common sense, or they forget about it. Any questions on any of that as we move forward?